All right, we are going to walk through the break-even analysis assignment. I've changed some of the numbers here so that you can see what I did leave, though, is the percent of all admissions. So this is the spreadsheet, and I highly recommend doing a lot of these things in spreadsheets because I think it will help identify all the ways that you're doing math and to try to help keep it consistent. So first things first, one of the things that I think some of us have done a little bit differently is we need to break all of this out. So when in the table that I provided you, you need to put everything in here. And the reason why you don't want to add all of these together is because if you add up all of these, and some of us were adding up some of this and saying, okay, it's 25%. Well, that's great, it's 25%, but each one of these rates is different. Because so if I'm taking Medicare, if I have 5% of my patients are in Medicare, then we need to actually take that weighted price. So we need to take this, so the percent of all admissions times our payment rate. And if you see that the weighted price, if I go ahead and do that all the way down, oops, I need to grab a hold of that, and do that all the way down, my weighted price is different for each payer. So all of that changes based on how this looks. So ultimately you end up with a lot of different variations. Like even the payment rate for the other is very high, but because our percent of admissions is very low for that, our weighted price is low for that as well. And then you'll do the same for the variable cost, and we'll take our percent of admissions times our variable cost to then get those weighted numbers as well. So when we add all of that together, you end up with this $32 and $50 for DRG1. And keep in mind that because of all of these different payment rates, you can't just take percentages of everything, because what we're doing is with this is a percentage of all patients. So think of all of this at the end as this is 100% of all of our patients, because when this all adds up, it's 100%. And that's why we're doing all of this separate, all of these separate percentages times all of these different dollar amounts, is because they all ultimately are going to roll up into one big piece of the whole hospital. So think of it as, there's hundreds of DRGs out there that we're just taking a small snapshot of what a break even for a hospital would look like. So maybe this is just like a specific area for let's just say we're doing joint replacements. So these are just the DRGs for joint replacements. So you can see that what we've done is add up done the multiplier. So we take the percent of admissions times the payment rate to get a weighted price. Ultimately, what we're going to do here is we're going to take these numbers. So DRG1, the weighted price is $32. When you add these all up here, and then the variable costs are $50. I've already done the math on these, so we can put for DRG2 $198 and $315, and then $510 for the price for DRG3, and $240 for the variable cost. So what we did was we just added each of these up, and we're putting these in these spots. Now what we need to do is there's program specific costs, and I outlined those in the scenario. So these program specific costs, each DRG1 has its own fixed cost, and then there was an overall joint cost. I changed the numbers here just to look a bit different, but what we're going to do is we're going to add all these up. So everything gets added up here because we are looking at everything as 100%, because this is 100% of everything. We're not trying to find a break even for DRG1 or DRG2 or DRG3. We're trying to find it for the entire hospitals, but we're just only doing 3 DRGs here. So what we need to do then is we would take, we have all of our program specific fixed costs. So we add up 30, the 75, the 50, and the 300, and that gives us $455,000. So there's our fixed cost. When we do our other piece here is that we're going to take is we need to take our 740, our rate of reimbursement, minus our variable cost. So there's our price minus our variable cost. So 740 minus 605 is 135. So our fixed cost divided by P over F or V P minus VC, sorry, that equals 3,370 patients. So that's how many patients we need to break even for this specific scenario. So then what you would do on your end is basically what you guys need to do is take this table and replace the payment rates with what the payment rates are and the variable costs, and do the calculations there. And then what I did was I created a secondary table to add everything up over here and put the numbers all together to get my price minus variable cost and then my fixed costs as well of adding all of those up. If you've got any other questions, feel free to email me, text me, call me, and we can walk through this a little bit more. Thanks.